stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard.
Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
Spartans! What is your profession?
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another episode, another live, another stream. Of course, you are watching the Spartan HQ Network. I am your host. Yeah, I am your host, Ghost Sparta. Of course, I can't do this by myself. Let's get my boy in here. Wrong screen. Oopsies. My
It's funny.
I got you on the wrong screen. My bad, dude.
Here's the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I was about to start the show because he was running a little bit late. So I was on my other
You
station.
got a huge echo in the back.
That's why. Let me this. Shush. Look, I was preparing from the other end, not on this end.
Well, you
And
should
he
have
just
said
threw
something
me.
then, smart ass.
Oh, you wanna go there? Call me Groot. Of all things, first and foremost, I'm taller than you. Groot is a small dude.
I said little Groot when he was a little plant.
I'm 6 foot tall. Really?
Yeah.
6 foot tall, 295, 280 pounds in between those.
Dude, I'm still getting the echo from you, bro.
Still getting the echo?
Yeah.
What's funny? Hold on. Let me see
Of
that.
course, David's gonna crash our stream. Like always.
Echo done?
Nope, still there.
Oh, wow. This is crazy. Let's see if I can fix that. Fix the feedback. Testing. Let me do it.
Of course,
Are you still getting the echo?
No, you good now.
Good? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So I had to bring out the equalizer for my mic because I've been trying to figure out. This is a very powerful mic. The Logitech Yeti X. It's no joke. But thing is, I'm still trying to find the right headphone I could plug into, so it allow me to hear it from the mic as well, but not just from the PC.
That's how I have mine, actually. But anyway, let's get to the show, bro. I'm gonna let you take the reins for a little bit because I gotta still take care of one little thing downstairs. It's called by taking my dog really out really fast before he pisses over my carpets and because he's jumping up and down. If he pisses on my carpets, you're paying the cleaning bill.
Not really. I don't have a dog. I don't do a dog. I don't have a dog.
Well,
if I don't have a house with an open area that I can kick his butt out like you in the back.
Oh, you're a fucking lazy fucker.
No, not my lazy fucker. I'm African. We African think different. And I'm supposed to be having a free space. Not supposed to play when he's supposed to be chilling for a while.
Bro, my dog sleeps in my bedroom.
I know. African don't do that. We different.
He has his own little bed too.
Unless we outside in a safari out in the field and we sleep with the tiger will be our bed or mattress, whatever. We just sleep with them. So in case joking aside, bro, like his little bed is actually more comfortable than mine sometimes. That's on you. You give him more comfortable bed than yours. I didn't make that decision. You did.
All right, I'll let you take the floor for a minute. I'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Please behave. Please behave.
I will try to behave. Right? Put me in a very hot seat. Ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to say, this is. I know, you want to put me on the big screen. It's the TBN Tech Talk collaborating with Sparty HQ Network on this topic, which I don't like whatsoever. If anything, good evening, Mariana. How are you doing? Welcome to this nightmare of a conversation. Trust me, it is a nightmare. Whew. Women going after married men. This is one of those topics I do not want to be involved in, period. I don't want to speak on this. I don't want to engage in this. I don't want to sit around for this because it's ridiculous. So trying to figure out such a mindset that you're asking me to go way back in time to ancient civilization time to see why it happened that way, why it repeats itself to now. is by far the most annoying concept and annoying topic to engage into. I'm not a psychologist. I don't like to dip and dab in women's mental health, to be honest with you. But we men have our own struggle already as it is. While you have men for the past couple of years trying to unalive themselves, jump off the bridge, or decide to say, you know what, I want to live a simple life. See, what would they have left? Leave the country, go somewhere nice and quiet, and be under the radar completely, just so they can have peace of mind. Hey, so I don't know how to speak on on the topic because this is something that, regardless any culture, but this is not an American thing. So let's be 1,000 of this. It's not an American issue. It's not a black issue. This is not a white issue. This is not a Puerto Rican issue or an Asian issue or whatever it is. Throughout time, throughout history, we have seen such things. But to try to enter in the mind as such, I firmly believe we need to have women on this panel to join in this conversation who have a, not saying having a deep level of understanding, but who have seen or been around or known such people practice such things. This is not something so easy to target. I've been on a lot of multiple different panels talking about relationships and stuff, about family for the past 3 years. I never got the chance to sit on this particular topic because this topic is not something I feel is safe to just dive into for a lot of specific reasons, so to speak. Because speaking on this, you might get the wrong concept or the wrong idea. To my fellow African brother, Manny Prestige, aka Ola, shout out to him. He always said, when you look at these type of situation, it is a case by case study on the side. Yeah, thank you for letting me know how much I folded. I don't know I got folded. I was talking, and all of a sudden it just happened. So forgive me, I was just rambling, speaking my mind controlling the topic because it is not a simple topic, to be honest with you. It is not. I'm trying to go to the deep realm in my brain and trying to see have I ever tried to dodge this topic or did I try to run away from it or I choose not to speak on it because it's not it's not really a simple discussion to be honest with you. And I'm even thinking about this though. If Peter we got to any woman to come on this panel to discuss this because this is not a simple conversation for just all guys to speak on. I'll be straight up with you guys. But I was watching DJ Hemp had that Tuesday night conversation. He put a clip out there, and he couldn't even say not a damn thing for a good hour. Watching how the conversation devolved without him, and I was laughing. Want me to turn out the link? Okay. Let me see if I can get someone to join the conversation because I'm telling you guys, I say that we do need a couple of women on this panel because there's not a easy conversation. There's not something that we guys alone can speak on. We can reach out, we can think, but without at least two or three women on this panel, it become very, very hard to hit on. I know you have watched us guys. We have deep, deep conversation on the channel, on the Party H2 network. Oh, we got somebody here. Hold on.
You hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm the backup. I'm up here until the ghost comes back, so you won't be up here hanging. I'm sorry,
I know, but because
Rover.
when I get my monologue, and I didn't know I got frozen come on my main PC because my main PC I have some power supply issue which I've been trying to rectify. So
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
a challenge part. But this
You good?
topic,
You good?
I I wanted to run away from the topic to be honest with you because this topic was not for me. When he told us what we would be talking about, I looked at him dead and like, nah,
Yeah, this
this
deep.
is not no simple. Deep is not even a word for this. That's the first part.
Well, let's
Second
talk
part,
about it.
how
Let's
many
talk
women did
about
he
it.
invite for the comment? I know, but here's the thing, how many women did he invite for it? Because
Hmm.
women going out to marry men. This have been an issue in present time, the early 2000s, during the 90s, in the 80s. I don't want to start going in before segregation was destroyed because they were the thing when you start to hear about, oh, I didn't know Papa have another family.
Hmm.
how many celebrities that came out here through Ayala Van Van? Now that their dad had another woman, the whole set of family beside their own mom down the block or another in the next town. They didn't even know until after he passed away. Like, and he got kids. Like, I didn't know I got step siblings. Like, this this is not a simple topic whatsoever. This is one of the topic. I can't say you walking on eggshell.
Well, you got a lot
Wait,
of different
you
women out there, David. So
dang. See, you say the word a lot different. This is something I've been saying about men for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
We have women bashing men, and every time I'm on the panel, I keep asking this question: which group of men are you referring to?
Well, there's only two types.
I've always been saying that. I've always been consistent about that, and they never. Oh, here come Wally.
Hey, Wally Wally.
Here, Wally. They want money. I want milk. Let's trade.
He
Really?
funny. He want that titty.
Wait. I'll be honest though, because
You should
Lady
join
Divorce
us,
Queen,
Wally. Wouldn't?
you have been there when I've been on panels,
Yeah.
and I've dealt with the pushback multiple times on these
Hmm.
panels, and I always throw out the question: what group of men are you from?
It's only two types.
Because it seems to
Yeah.
me, they only say there's two types, but it's way more than two kind of group of men. But when we come to women, oh, we have many different
Right.
group of women. Quick, easy. We can't we can't do a broad butt painting on all women. We can't. We know there's too many different groups of women. But we say the same thing about men. Y'all are men are the same. Are you sure that you are the
Mm.
same? Because there's a few times I have called them out on the bullshit on multiple panels. I'll tell you first and foremost, when you're in middle school, when you're in high school, when you're in college, you don't mess with the nerds. You don't mess with the dweeb. See the popular boys who are flossing or flashing or
You better
flexing.
not let Wally hear you say that word. No,
Popular.
nerd.
Nerd. I'm a nerd. I've been a
I
nerd
want
my
to
whole entire
learn
life.
nerd, and I be telling him how good it is, but he don't like
No,
that,
hit a no, hit a problem.
and I never want.
Nerds. The word nerd, I learned it in this country
I'm
in
a
the
little
United States.
nerd.
And I realized what the category of nerd. I remember one time DJ Hemp did a show about this.
Mhm.
And I was on the panel
Mhm.
and I exposed a little more about my character. And people was like, what? Nerd are kind of a group of people who love to do research and study. They are hungry for knowledge. They are hungry for information. They're always deep diving, reading to confirm whatever they're reading is valid or not. They're not gonna take one person's word and just say that is concrete. They're gonna make sure it has been valid by many other people as well. We're the kind of kids who are very competitive when it comes to our grades. If we think we're good in math, oh, we're gonna be good in math. Ain't nobody beating us. I know Queen got knocked out. Gonna have some connectivity issue, but that's the thing. When you come to nerds, if we're good in science, we will be that way in science.
Sorry, somebody called my phone.
You're right. No,
I'm sorry.
it's all right. It's all right. I'm continuing. We are hungry for knowledge. We're hungry for information. We always have to do research. We're very competitive when it comes to our grades. Either we're the best in math, we're the best in English, we're the best in science, or any kind of engineering subject whatsoever. Yeah, they're a nerd in the banking industry as well. Along they're good at math. Math is critical for anything around the world, no matter what subject you're in. Math is very critical. But these such people are purveyor of knowledge and information. They dwell in it, they dig in it, they sleep in it, they do their homework in it. There's nothing wrong being knowledgeable.
No.
Well, when you're in a country like this, for example, where they promote ideology, they promote ignorance, they promote stupidity, it's not cool to be the smartest person in the class. It's not cool to be the most educated person in the class. Now, you know what? Let me just spin that back around. Lady, Queen, you know this conversation, and you have been on multiple panels. Oh, black women are the most educated. Are you sure you're the most educated person in the community? Based on what degree are you getting? I know this for a fact that not every black woman are taking degrees that highly guarantee them high paying jobs
Right,
that will constantly challenge them.
right.
So talk about degrees, this
Can I
degrees,
say
that.
something on that part? Just
Go ahead.
because you get a degree, don't and you work a lot of hours, don't disqualify you not to be, the wife of the home. That's your choice. You know what I'm saying? Doing that. But when you get married, you gotta know how to juggle that. And what I was saying, I don't wanna, because I was just telling somebody about that, how women say it's slavery and all that. But when you get your degree and you don't use it and you're not making money from it, sup Peter? And
What's going on?
you're not making money from it, and you took all those
And that
years, and then you said, I got like I kept saying, I got a PhD.
and that's my thing because I know myself. If I were to go on these other panel, go in the juggler about this talking point, then it becomes like I'm looking for a fight. As a Nigerian,
Hmm.
we don't push against having an educated woman in our house. We accept it, we embrace
Yeah,
it.
a man wants a smart
But what
woman.
we no, but what we ask for is that you don't get such a degree that is not useful for the family. You know what I'm saying? Like I might have to take Anton Daniels more talking points. Don't get a degree in bathroom
It
weaving.
depends on what you saying, cause I don't like
I know,
Anton Daniels that much.
I don't know. I get what you're coming
Okay,
from. When he say bathroom weaving degree, right? Bathroom weaving, he have a reason why he speaks such things because let's be honest here. In present time, what field in the workforce that not just only marketable, but it show you the range of how much money you can make over time. Matter if you're starting or you're finishing, right? We talked about this. If you had a degree in the law, that's a marketable degree. You have a degree in banking,
right.
that's marketable, right? You have a degree in medical, in science, whatever. You know that when you get the degree, before you even step out of the school, people trying to hound you, people trying to bring you in. Law degree, before you even finish your college. You know how many law firms are out there that are always looking at the pool of people who graduate from law school and see if they can add them to the firm or get a new fetch of intern? The factory industry, I'm a data support specialist. I've been doing it for 23 years. Intern that coming in, they're coming with a particular major. You get a degree in fashion, meaning you plan to go into the factory corporate. There's a lot of factory corporate out there that are always high. They're looking into the pool to see who they're going to pull in. Now, if you get a degree that company are not looking for you at all, they're not trying to fish you at all, they're not trying to hound you with offers, then tell me this. What the hell are you doing? And I hate to say this, these women that get these layman degrees, they cannot get a higher paying job or solid job. There is a good ratio of those women on women who chase
Let
after
me ask
married
you
men.
something though. The one that get the high paying jobs, do they get to be the leader of the household and tell you what to do? Your turn.
Now, in the black community, that's have been the talking point.
Not
Nope,
only in a black community, in
not
general
in the black
community.
No, no,
community. I was
no.
like, thank you,
I know.
Peter. Let Peter talk.
I'm breaking it
Yeah.
down. I'm
Oh,
breaking it
okay,
down.
hang on a second, Dave. Let me jump in here really fast. When I was engaged, I had my engagement ring. I don't know. After I slipped that ring in, it was like a magnet to women coming at me and start flirting with me, and literally like, but you guys know my fiance, so she will know. I'm like, excuse me. Like it took me off literally blindsided when I'm hearing these comments and like, is this something that maybe the queen can answer this question? Is this something that you cannot have? You go after so hard. I don't ever understand when a man is married, engaged, or in a relationship, they literally throw themselves at you, and it makes no sense to me.
Well,
Anybody?
that can go many ways. You
Okay, I'm
got the
listening.
messy ones. You got the messy ones that want to not see you win and they want you to fail. Then you got the ones that really want you and they're gonna compete for you. And then when you pick her, they can't take no for an answer, so they're gonna keep going. Cause a lot of women, not all, and I ain't saying most, but a lot of women want the wedding more than the marriage. And you gotta ask yourself before you say I do. Do I want the marriage or do I want the wedding more? It's okay to have the wedding, the big fancy, wedding and the beautiful dress and the sparkle and the spotlight on you. But are you willing to do the work for the marriage?
That is a good question.
That's why I went back to that question. If I was making 6 figures and my man was making 5 figures, do I get to tell him what to do and be the head of the household? No. Well, as a wife, I would say no. No matter if I make the most money, he's still the head of our household. You know what I'm saying? And I will let him lead. That's just me.
And that's what I'm trying to say. There's a cultural difference. When I'm saying the cultural difference, let me be quick to clear about
Yeah,
something.
hang on one second. Let's get this guy in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president. Wrong button. What's up, Paul? What's going on, my man?
It's all good. What's going on, Joe?
Yeah. So we are talking about why do women go
Hey,
after
Mr. B, times
Good evening,
7.
Queen. How are you?
I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to speak and say, I'm the benevolent, beautiful, bold, bonacious,
But you
okay?
have to end it with Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President. Last word, Mr. President. Your turn.
Make sure you record it.
Well, again, shout out to the bold and the beautiful, the beneficent, benevolent ball brotherhood of the BMU network. I'm the president, Mr. Bennett, in the house for this another edition of the Spot HQ Network show.
Boom!
What do you call this show anyway? What is this? Spartan
This is the
Arena?
Spartan Arena.
The
Oh,
Spartan
we
Arena.
Spartans.
Okay.
Your Spartan name is Mr. President. My
Okay.
Spartan name is Queen, and cause y'all gave me that. And we got Bear Paw, and we got Ghost, and then we got Mr. Wally, Mr. Fireburn. Boy, I can never say that word down there. And then we just got to get Boss Man and what's the name? We good. We Gucci. Our team. We there.
And this is Wale model.
Yeah. That's
Oh, Thalos Fireburn. My bad.
mhm.
I give you guys a few minutes on the show by yourselves unsupervised, and this is what you guys do.
Don't look at me.
Wally always, have brings the party goods.
Yes. But the thing is, I'll be honest with you though. When I look at women in this conversation, women going out to marry men, I've been trying to dodge this question for years. Because, like I tell you, this is not a cultural thing anymore. It's not a black people thing, not a white people thing, not a Puerto Rico thing. It's like throughout time, you cannot comprehend what would make a woman do such a thing. Even in the Bible, biblically speaking, they even talk about such women like that. But when our time put a correlation, like you have women in certain realm in education, they get certain degree that not quote unquote fulfilling. You see a man who have been consistent in the past, married, build a solid family. She's watching for this. She could be a co-worker. She work in a corporate office. She could be in a bank, whatever area you in. She watching from a distance. She eyeing. She how you carry yourself. She see your woman. She see what she got. What do you think? What do you think that come to her mind? She don't deserve you. Why she got you?
You know what, David? Hang on a second. Let's get Paul in. I want to see
Yeah,
his open monologue, what he's thinking about. Why do
but
women go after married men?
can I say something before
Yeah,
he
go ahead.
say something? Because Marianne has said something. Can you bring up her comment about
Which
why
one?
women want married men?
This one right here.
Yeah, can you leave that up? I agree with that too, because when you see a man and you think he has that good life, you want that. You like, damn, I want that. I wish I could have that. A lot of women be greedy and not think of the wife and be like, I'm gonna go get him for me, or whatever. But before Mr. B Time 7 talk on this comment, I mean this comment because I want him to talk on this comment. Do he agree with this comment? I want to ask him this question too. If your wife makes 6 figures and you make 5 or 4 or whatever, does she have the right to be the head of the household and tell you what to do? And then can you talk about Mariana,
Mariana.
whatever her name, Mariana, comment for me, Mr. B Town 7.
Well, as to your first question, depends. It's what you negotiate. It wouldn't work here. I mean, I think that there's a, and I think my wife understands that we've had that conversation. I mean, I've traditionally made, on average, twice as much as she has. But if the roles were reversed, certainly she's consented that I would still be the head as far as the major decision maker, in part because one, I'm better at it in certain respects. I'd certainly take her input. She's certainly my chief counsel, and certainly um, all those things considered. But certainly not only did I come in with a title, but I also demonstrated myself over time. So I think that headship, if she, let's say, if the roles did get reversed and she did, turn to a role where she earned significantly more, I don't think much would change. But I think again, it's what you negotiate. I'm not one of these guys who goes around with dogmatic statements about this is what a man does, this is what a woman does, or whatever. I've seen all kinds of relationships over the years, and a lot of them work fairly well. But it's a lot of it. It's like what you decide. If you decide to be a stay at home husband and raise the kids while the wife makes the money, and certainly that sort of thing, it's what you agree to. And my thing is I treat adults like adults, and whatever you agree to, do you stick to the vows and to the pledges that you made to one another, and carry it through. So, all I can speak for is what works in my home and what makes the most sense. What makes the logical sense in my case. But I don't try to go out with this dogmatic, yeah, this is what a man's supposed to do, and yeah, the man's supposed to be the head of his home or whatnot. Well, nah, if you're an incompetent man with a competent woman, then maybe you shouldn't be leading. I think, like I said, I think you may come in with certain expectations, but I think leadership is earned. And there's a lot of men who haven't demonstrated the proper leadership that they need to be leading anything or anybody. Sorry. I just don't, um, I just don't roll that way. So I hope I answered your question. Um,
Agree with that.
regarding Mariana's points, I say that depends also. It's illogical, I would say, the reasoning, because basically you said you're looking for a stable man or whatnot. Well, basically, if he entertains you, then he's creating an unstable situation. So it's interesting. I think the illogic of going after a married man. There's certainly things and attributes that you could admire about someone who's been chosen, someone who is shown and demonstrated. You can be um, envious of someone who is seems like they have their stuff together, but why would you go after that? Why would you want to break that up, especially if the person has kids, if the person again, I'm just not in a space where guys nowadays, they're talking about, oh, well, back in the day it was normal for guys to have 20 different women and have all these kids and all this kind of stuff. Maybe. I just don't think that model fits. And these guys who are calling for like almost like a return to a man in his harem of 20 women or whatever, I'm just not there. One woman is more than enough for me never wanted more than one wife, and I am very content with the woman that I have. So I think that's more so the problem, that some people are just not content in the situations that they're in and looking to look outside. As far as for why women look for married men, some of them, just like why some men go after married women, sometimes in their twisted view, sometimes it is safer, because the idea here is that you may be getting some of the benefits of that man, but unless you're or that person, but unless you're actually trying to take that person away from the situation that they have, you just think it's safe because, again, you get to go home. So you guys get together, do your dalliances, and the other people go home back to their lives and stuff. What it's so a lot of people think it's safer because it's not as involved. She's already committed, or he's already committed to someone, so you don't have to deal with anything. So for a woman, it could not be about any of those things at all. She just wants her fix. She wants her fantasy. She wants her sense of, having a guy, but maybe she doesn't want all the entanglements. And the fact that he's got to go home and do what he does, but then he spends his free time with you, that might be all you want. I mean, women have free agency here, just like men have free agency. And even with the topic itself, I'm a little put off by it simply by the fact that, again, men choose. Why would you even consider getting involved with a woman that's not your wife? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, look, things could be bad at home. You might not be getting enough sex or any sex at all at home, and certainly that creates a situation that it I don't justify, but it becomes understandable why a man would step out. But that being said, you think adding another woman to your life is going to make things better? Yeah, and it does suck when you go to the funeral and you find all these kids that were these step siblings that you had and whatnot, because your father was out doing his business elsewhere. Yeah, I think that stinks. I don't salute that. I don't celebrate that. If that did happen in my family, I wouldn't respect that. I wouldn't respect my father for it if that was ever done. My thing is one man, one woman for life, ride or die. And if it gets to a point where you don't think you can live under that covenant, if you don't think you can live under that situation, then yeah, maybe you should just, not be married then, if you can't live under those terms. But the vows that you took did not include entertaining other women. I keep very short accounts of my wife. I don't put myself in situations where I'm alone with a single woman. I don't even recall women hitting on me, quite frankly, because again, I don't entertain it. Or even if they did, my mind space is, unless it's business, unless it's work related, I'm not, I'm not entertaining any of that. Any female friends that I had before I got married, they basically kind of fell off or they got into their own thing. But it's not like I'm going to be on the phone with you talking, and I'm definitely not going to be talking about my business with you. Now, I've seen some of that. I've seen work husbands and work wives and whatnot, where you're working together, you go to lunch together and telling that other person all about your business. And I think you're just creating a situation where, again, things can get, you develop some emotional attachments, and sometimes those emotional attachments lead to physical ones. So I just think that you should, be concerned about your house and make your marital bed the best it can possibly be. Shout out to Boss Man and his wife. It seems like they do that very well. And I think a lot of people can learn from an example like that. But if you start thinking that you need to be stepping out, or if a woman who's, not your wife, and, again, there's nothing wrong with, her finding your demeanor, your character, the way you go about your business, again, enviable, or something that's respectful, or something even attractive. But we get into a whole nother level here when you as the man start to entertain that. I'm sorry. I just don't, put myself in those particular situations. So again, this goes against the manosphere. Sorry. But like I said, I just don't see it. But again, for a woman to think that getting with a married man is going to lead to better security down the road. If he left her, what makes you think he can't leave you? I just don't understand that. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's my opening salvo. If anyone else has any questions, they can certainly ask it.
I like that.
I just, I never understood that. And I really, what used to get me upset. I remember this when I was dating my wife. I hated when you had music or movies that celebrated that or talked about that. So, like when Whitney Houston came out with "Saving All My Love for You," I hated that song. I hated "If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right." I hated those songs. I would turn the channel if those songs came on because you're taking something that is awful. Or Love Train. Even look, I love the hook from Love Train, but the song is about, it was grimy, quite frankly, because the guy's calling the woman up and she's said that she's in bed with another dude. And the dude said he wants to come over and be with her after she done smashed with the other dude. That is disgusting.
And that's not the only thing. There's other male artists that promote that same nonsense.
Right. I'm just saying, but those are just examples. Now, movies. Now, I remember this because it created a tense night with my wife. Not her fault, but I remember when we were dating. We watched this movie, Bridges Over Madison County. So it was Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood, and they basically played this thing about this Midwest family, and the guy was a farmer or whatnot, and the woman, she was I guess the dutiful wife or whatever, but she met this photographer guy in Clint Eastwood, and they carried on this sort of torrid affair, and they kind of made it beautiful, and it pissed me off. And so I remember vividly kind of going home that night upset at my girlfriend at the time. Upset. I was just offended by the piece. Because again, I do not approve of adultery. Making adultery and justifying it or trying to make it beautiful just because you think your life is boring and the guy that you're married to was boring. Well, look, you married the guy, but that was your deal. So yeah. So adultery in general, or any topics around that. Like I said, I'm not saying that you create conditions to where a person may step out. I mean, to step out. I mean, look, I would rather you do corn. If you're not getting it, whatever, watch corn. Do that.
Oh my God!
But to actually go through with it and then get in bed with your spouse after you did it, I'm just saying.
Disgusting. Let's be honest here.
That's grimy. So I don't have any empathy for people who are in that situation, for the woman who seeks after it. I have no regard for that, but for the man who entertained it, and especially if you had a decent home situation. I remember Jungle Fever, Spike Lee. My man had it. He was doing it with his wife every morning. If you remember that movie, start the opening salvo of the movie, goes into the window and he is busting her down. So you got a wife that you rocking it with. Why are you gonna then go?
He was shaking the concrete of the building.
Yeah, waking up the baby and everything. I mean, kid was hearing what's going on. I'm like, man, this is, and I'm like, kind of taken aback a little bit. This is a Spike Lee movie, but I was like, man, y'all starting the movie out like that. So you had a wife who you was, getting that in with, but that wasn't enough for you. You got to go for the woman in the office. And it was controversy at the time because it was Wesley Snipes and it was a white woman in the movie. That whole thing about interracial dating, and that was kind of, starting to hit, during that time too. So, that was.
I actually remember that movie now. It's been a while, but I remember watching that. But at that point, who do you blame? The other woman or the man?
Both. I mean, both. He had no, I mean, like I said, you had a good thing at home. You had a young child at home. You had a wife. You had a beautiful wife. You were getting it in. It wasn't like you guys had a fight or you guys were in a bad situation and you still got with her. I was disgusted by him. I was like, you weak dude. I didn't want to call him a brother because I just didn't respect him. So so again, I blame both. Again, two, 1 + 1 is 2. So again, I don't, this unless someone, violates you or anything like that, there's no innocent people in this situation. And so I'm not, so yeah, I hold him and her responsible. You knew he was a married man. And where would you think that, and at the end of the movie, again, where did you think this relationship was going? You think you were going to create a stable situation, or he would just up and leave his wife and family just to be with you? The hubris of that your coochie is so good that you think you could just, you think you're Strong J from Boomerang? No man can resist this. No man can resist this. You
I
think
used to
you can
like
do
that.
that? I mean, how dare you? So yeah, I'm just not with it. But look, if you're not getting enough or whatever, or if you think, you're getting a couple times a week, use corn to fill in the rest, and just move on. But again, to entertain, to bring them to merge bodily fluids with another human being, and then bring that same energy into your bedroom. I just think,
Let's not
you have
forget
you have no,
Tyler. Let's not forget Tyler Perry made a movie similar to that type of thing, but made it even worse, whereby both husband and wife work in the same company with two different departments. The husband with a construction work on site, but the wife working in the office, right? And somehow, wifey was moving up the ladder a little bit faster than the husband, so to speak. But she had an actual account. Husband wanted to start his own construction business to make more money so he could be balanced out. She got into a fight because she touched her hidden money. Now, really, that hidden money came with a price. It came from somewhere until she let him know, our son is not really your son. Our son is a Cartwright son, so to speak.
Dude, look at our friend, our good friend King Smith. What happened to him? And King Smith is one of my best friends, and that the whole story when he broke it took me from a blind side. I didn't even know about it. That he was all these years thought his father was his father, and he found out through a DNA test him and his brother did as a almost like as a joke. And when they find out, oh, something's up here, and he's, oh yeah, and his mom like was like, it is what it is. It was not a big deal.
But it's not just that. Tyler Perry and Kurt Franklin had to find out, just like everybody else, that their father is not their father to begin with. The mom have been lying to them all these years. You and I have seen the multiple episodes of Kurt Franklin when he confronts his mom about it, and they did the DNA test several times over to prove, and she will blatantly deny it when the medical speaking proof is right there and there. Then Tyler Perry didn't realize the same thing happened. Like, imagine how many black celebrities now finding out the lie that have been told to them for multiple decades. And you in your 40 or 50, you now find out after how long? Like, what the deal? But you have American TV and movie industry. I can't say showcasing it. They make it look super pretty,
And that's the problem. It's
enticing.
not. Look at the Notebook. The poor woman hooked up with this guy. She was in love with him over the summer. Then her parents separated because of different was financial level. She was rich. This guy was poor. Years later, they end up getting back together, but she was engaged already, and pretty much that whole she went after him, not the other way around. That's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, um, yeah. So like I said, I definitely think that, I think there's different reasons, and again, especially these days, some people just don't want the attachment. I'm not going for, oh, they just want the guy because he's got everything. Sometimes you just want to do your business and go home. And the fact that he's got commitments to a life, then you may consider that security, that we're just hooking up for sex or whatever, and then he goes off and does his business. But hey, if you could slide me a few dollars every once in a while, hey, that'd be cool too. But outside of that, I just don't think it's a good thing. But like I said, I certainly I can appreciate, just like when before I was married and even after, I can appreciate when a guy has a wife and she's a good wife, she's beautiful, she's a mom, and she's doing her thing or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's obviously attractive because again, somebody, you could look at that, like I said, enviably, but in a good envy, to say, hey, you know what, I would love to have someone like that someday.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
But then to take it to the level to say, no, I want that one. So there's a difference between envy, jealousy, and covetousness. Those are three different things, even though they may feel the same. To be envious of someone means you're operating from lack, meaning you do not have something that someone else does, and you feel a certain way. We oftentimes confuse it with jealousy, but that's envy. Envy, I don't have something that you have, and I feel a certain way. I'm feeling a lack. I'm feeling inferior because I don't have what you have. Jealousy always starts from possession, meaning that you have, but you're afraid of losing. So that's why if you in place with your wife and the guy's looking at your wife, you'd be like, "What you looking at?" So again, that comes from the standpoint of you at least you perceive that you're in top position because you think you possess something, and then someone's trying to take your stuff, or you think that someone's trying to move in on your stuff. That's jealousy. When God says, I am a jealous God, again, he already had the relationship with the Israelite people. He put the covenant in with the Israelite people. But when they started worshiping other gods, that's what stirred his ire to say, I'm a jealous God. Because I married you, essentially, and yet you want to step out. Now, to be covetous means you want that, whatever that person has directly. So not to say, I would like someone like that. You're saying, I want that person. So I'm gonna go after that person's. I'm gonna go after that man's wife, or I'm gonna go after that man, that wife's husband, because I want him for whatever twisted reason you think you deserve him over the one that that person's married to.
Like Paul, I always say to you, what do I always say to you?
Oh, that you respect my grind, certainly as a married man and whatnot, of the marriage that I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I keep very tight, kind of narrow blinders on. Like I said, I just don't put myself. I mean, the big news that's been going.
I respect what you and your wife have, what you guys build, and
Right.
you guys have a great marriage. Let's be honest here, Paul. Let's pull the curtains back for a second for the viewers to see it. You guys have a good marriage. Whatever you do works. My boy CQ, same thing. His marriage works. And this is a little more newlywed people. I'm going to mention that next too. King and Michelle, they make it work. They figure the formula out.
Well, look, listen, they're going to the next level. I watch their show almost every week now. I'm almost like a loyal listener. I'll be seeing you be up in there also.
A groupie, aren't you?
They keep it interesting every week. So they're gonna do the living thing. They're gonna move in together for some time. Again, I hope it works for them. I hope it prepares them for if they want to go to take it even to the ultimate level, so to speak, in marriage itself. But yeah, that's a different ball game. But my thing is,
as much I love King Smith and he likes to talk shit, and I'll call him out right now again. I called him on his show several times. He said, and I quote, I would never ever get remarried, he said. And I called bullshit on that because I know he will. Right. Michelle will be the one woman that he would drop back on one knee. He would do it.
Well, technically, if they do live together, I don't know what state. I guess they're going to be in Maryland. I got to see what the common law. Yeah, if they live together long enough, they may be considered married in the eyes of the state. So technically,
Pennsylvania is 10 years now. They have raised
in Maryland. It's 10 years.
No, PA.
In PA, okay, I got to
Yeah.
find out what the common law is
They raised it
in
last several
Maryland.
years because it used to be like 2 years. Or first it was 1 year, then about 2 years, and then they skyrocketed like 10 years. Like holy shit, that's a long fuck time. But
Yeah, that's a lot.
And the thing is, I think people are doing the common law marriage more than marriage because of the law on the land is not favorable to men, because they taught the white woman go out to marry men, right? Depending on what
Well,
status that man is.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know how that hurts you. Like, especially if you get kids involved, it doesn't matter if you're married or not. They
Sure.
coming after you if you, the paternity, if you're the father of those children, marriage or not, they coming after you. Now, when it comes to property, yeah, you may have an argument there. Certainly, when it comes to marital assets and whatnot, that certainly gets dicey when it comes to that. You may want to hold on, and it might be cheaper than going because people talk about getting prenups and whatnot. But all those legal expense, all those things are expensive to get. So you may not think, or that you may not think at the time that you're together that you have the money to even justify a prenuptial agreement.
So what about
But,
paternity fraud?
yeah,
There's no punishment, there's no law in the book concerning paternity flaw. I mean, fraud, what to be. But I'm noticing other civilized nations are now making it a very big deal. But
mhm,
paternity fraud should be identical to money fraud.
right.
But in this land that we are in, this land of extreme contradiction, there's no such thing in the book pertaining paternity fraud. Meaning, if you are a man who have been married for X amount of years and you have been paying everything for the child or multiple children well-being, and turn to find out you're not the father, you get no reimbursement.
And you may still be ordered to continue because you've been basically the provider in that situation. All I'm
Now,
saying is that
now
marriage, whether
imagine,
you're married to the
imagine
mother or
if you were
not,
in the
I'm saying it
UK.
doesn't matter.
I'm saying, imagine in the UK and the law is against that. Meaning, the woman found guilty. Oh, it's the other way around. No, she paid. We're not playing that. But this is why I'm saying people are now more than likely walking away from marriage in this country for the simple fact the country has become a major contradiction. They claim to be law and order, but yet you don't have a law against such a thing that have been known in your nation for decades, and you never try to fix it. And when
see,
people try
here's the
and
thing,
we
David.
try to be more aware about it, what's the point?
Here's the thing, David. This country with the marriage has gone downhill really fast lately. That's one factor of what you're saying, but there are also multiple factors. Some men don't want to get married because they don't want to spend all the money at a wedding or spend the money on a ring or whatever the case is. There are other reasons just that. Is a lot of people that I know.
You don't have to though.
I agree.
I shared on the show. You can get married for $150.
I agree.
Yeah, but there are women are pushing against that. No, we don't want no cheap
Well,
marriage.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know,
And
people want to
that's my
use.
point, and that's what I'm pointing at.
Mhm.
Men, there are men who don't want to get because they find like it's completely pointless. Let's go on the cheap route so we can have money for our family. No, I want to show off on social media. Okay,
Well,
deuces.
I am so glad that I heard from my daughter because my daughter is actually in a wedding in July. One of her besties is getting married, and all the drama that she's having to go through just to get through the ceremony, from the dress fittings to the dance routines to being having one of the bridesmaids who she does not get along with, and all this kind of
God.
stuff. She came up to me and said, "Look, I would rather let's just get married quick, fast, and dirty at the church." And then I'd rather just spend the money on a banquet, a party, or something like that. After that, I don't want a big. She already came to me and said, "I don't want a big wedding." So I'm like, "All right."
And your daughter is a
Yeah.
very wise woman for real.
Now my
I
middle
even said
one.
it
Now my
myself.
middle one. That's another story.
I even said it myself. Like when I met, my ex, or my next woman I'm gonna meet, who is gonna be, the little crazy little riches, is I told her straight up, I don't want a big wedding. I want a very small wedding because I feel it's a waste of money sometimes too.
Now, let me ask you something. In the Greek Orthodox Church,
Mhm.
what is does there like a formal marital counseling that you have to go through before the church will marry you? Is there
I'm not
anything like that?
100% positive because I'm not sure, but I want to say yes. Knowing Father Cosadino, he would most likely want to do that.
Yeah, but is it I mean, I've seen churches it's like 6 months, I've seen 3 months, I've seen or it's a certain number of sessions. I talked to my pastor at the time for about 15. My wife, my fiance at the time, we were in the pastor's office for about 20 minutes. He said, "That's all I need to know." And then he was like, "I've heard churches where it's like premarital counseling is like a year."
Hmm.
So
And
again,
that depends on that culture they have
so
because
it varies, from church to church, and these are African American churches and whatnot. I mean, it's like everybody has a different philosophy when it comes to how much of that
well, let me put a spin
that
on
you're looking
that.
to
Let
do.
me put a spin on that. In the Nigerian culture, it's not really much of the church marriage counsel going through. It's more like the family engaging, meaning whoever the woman I'm gonna get married to, right? My
Mhm.
family is investigating that woman's family to know what kind of woman she is based on the kind of family she's coming from,
Right.
and vice versa, right? But this way you get to know each family. Now, the pastor will be involved, but the family will do the investigation to make sure.
Speak of the angel. You want to be on TV? You want to be on TV? You want to be on camera?
Uh oh.
You want to say hi?
Uh oh.
This is my oldest. This is the one that's going to medical school. You just stick your head in and just say hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Angel.
This is the one she'll be in medical school in August, and this is the one that says she doesn't want an expensive wedding, right? You just want simple wedding, and let's just do a big reception and whatnot and party and call it a day.
And
So
tell her
that's the
I
one that.
say she's a very wise, wise woman indeed.
So well, again, you either get wisdom or you get experience. Fortunate, the fact that she's going through this wedding, I think it certainly saved her what could have been a situation if she had to go through it, by herself. So sometimes learning from other people or just getting into the weeds about what these things entail, it's enough to tell you that this isn't for me. I'd
And
rather have something.
I hear
I'd
the
rather have
joke
something
though.
simpler.
I didn't come across this video and I didn't realize it's that bad. But based on certain people cultures, it may not be one wedding you're doing. Like the Yoruba tribe, you have two type of wedding. You have the traditional wedding,
Mhm.
which is under the Yoruba tribe, and you have the formal wedding you're in the church. And I've seen one part whereby if two people from different culture in Africa would get married, it's not two weddings, it's three weddings.
I actually knew somebody who did that. Funny part, his name was Pete Hill. He was Greek Orthodox, and his wife, now his fiance at the time, was Catholic. So they had two weddings.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I've seen,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to the interfaith stuff. We didn't talk about that on the Gray Area show, but certainly in interfaith there'll be either two weddings or there'll be a combined. Like I've seen weddings where there's like a Christian priest or pastor and a Hindu priest kind of doing it, or there'll be like a Jewish I forget what they call in the Jewish church what they call that person, but Jewish Christian
Is it
ceremonies
done
there'll
here
be
in the
like
US?
yeah.
Because we don't thinking about that because I've been doing my research and trying to see outside the US if that thing is being pushed about. And I don't see that a lot in Africa whereby they're doing, I can't say interfaith, but it depends on the leader of your church, so to speak,
Mhm.
what he pushing. Because
Right.
some of the church does
I,
what
I
they
I
call
I just see them arguing more than anything. To be honest with you guys, like you have the rabbi on one side, and you
Rabbi,
have
that's what I was looking for.
yeah,
Yes.
and then you have something on the other side. I'm like, what the hell? Well,
Yeah,
what if
I've
mom
seen
is a
yeah, I've
little
seen
smarty
weddings where
headed?
there's a rabbi and a priest, and they both kind of co-officiate the wedding. I've seen that as well.
What's going on?
Like I said, a Christian Hindu situation where there's a Christian priest or pastor and a Hindu monk or whatever. Yeah, like I said, and it's growing. I think one of the things we came out with the show with it is a growing trend. And yeah, as people especially these days. I mean, just to get back to the topic, mean, you're talking about trying to find a woman trying to, hook up with a married man or whatever. I mean, it's like good people are sort of hard to find. So if you find somebody who's good to you, just straight up forget the doctrines for a minute. But I mean, if somebody is good to you, and the difference between you guys is religion, and unless you're like a diehard, you know, stone cold believer or whatever, are you going to let that be a barrier to getting with somebody, especially if you vibe on everything? If she meets all the criteria, she's beautiful, she's, she shares your interests, she shares your common principles, your decency, she's respectful and whatnot, but she happens to be, I don't know, fill in the blank. My thing is, unless she's doing some Santeria stuff where she wants to do blood sacrifices in your home or whatever, then for some people they'll be like, you know what, I can live with that. Some people are making that calculation. You can look at me like that, David, but I'm just saying, watch the show. Watch the show, Gray Area show on.
I know. I'll watch the show. Don't even. I will watch the show, but I'm learning my code, learning my folks.
Time out. Paul's right. I never thought like that because I'm a Christian like most of us on this planet, and I always hold up like, what if she's not an Orthodox? But you're right, Paul. I fucking hate you, motherfucker. I fucking hate you when you're fucking right. Don't you dare gloat. I will choke slam you for this screen.
Oh shit. You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
Welcome to the club, Mr. Bennett.
I'm not saying a word.
He's right. I still can continue with my faith, and she can continue with hers. The only thing I will not ever date personally ever again is a Hindu or a Muslim. Let me be honest with you. I never dated a Muslim, but I'm just saying.
Mhm.
I haven't dated a Christian at least. So I fucking hate you, Paul. You're right. You just put that something in my mind.
But hear the anime on that right now. The younger generation in my country, Nigeria, who are Muslim, are now becoming more open to marry to a Christian man, knowing that their family can either be diehard Muslim. And
Well,
I'm looking at it like,
hang on. You're saying they're diehard Muslims. That's a contradiction, David. Again, go
no,
back and watch the show, because in
I'm
the
gonna watch it.
in
No,
the
I'm gonna.
Quran, Muslim men are allowed to marry women of the book, meaning they can marry Jews and Christians, and they must permit the woman to still follow her religion.
I'll give you a great example.
So if you want to say they're diehard, by what criteria are you measuring diehard? Are they if diehard? I'm thinking as they stone cold believe in the Quran and what the Quran teaches. So you may have to go another way. They could be, call them what they are. Call them bigoted. Call them religious phobes or whatever you want to call them. But by the orthodoxy of Muhammad himself, that is permitted as a Muslim man to marry a non-Christian woman as long as she's,
And I
that person.
agree.
So
you
so
point
so
that
again,
out.
people,
This is
I'm
something where I'm
I'm
always
talking about this because again, people I'm just using this as an example, but people will always try to justify their bigotry hiding behind something else, either their religion or culture or tradition or whatever. Just call it what it is. And so I'm just saying, so don't tell me that, oh well, we're strict Muslims. If you're strict Muslims, then that means you live by the code of your book or your tenets of your faith, and your tenets of your faith are very specific about what you can and cannot do. So again, I was, so really, you ain't got to cover up if you married a Muslim and you a Baptist Christian. Wow, when they do that, it's for Muslims. It's been there for a very long time. The Prophet Muhammad basically signed off on it. So again, this isn't something new, and statistically, even now, 10% of Muslims marry out. Period. across the board, and they somehow make it work again. But go back and watch the show. We covered that. We covered that topic. I had video playing from a person who wrote on this specific topic about interfaith marriages and both the challenges and how people are able to make it work and the dynamic of what that situation of what that situation is. Now,
So,
again, I
David,
wouldn't recommend it, but people are, like I said, it depends on where your level of belief is. But I've seen all kinds of, I've seen atheists marry Christians or vice versa. Or, like I said, what most likely is the situation is that your faith changes over time. So you guys could have got married and you guys were both atheists or agnostics, so you didn't really care. But then life situation comes in a way and you find a reaching for faith, and you find, your faith deepens and you want to believe in something so strongly you become a diehard person later. Or you must come in as people of faith, and then once that person loses faith over time. It's never the case where you got you're both going to be necessarily running in the same lanes unless you're very intentional about that. Going to worshiping together, praying together, you know, unless you're that devout in your faith with each other, then yeah, I mean, certainly faith can change. Or the simplest thing, you may just decide, you know what, I don't like this church anymore. I want to go to another one. And so then you got two people married, but they're going to different churches. I mean, that happens. So yeah, it's a reality in these times. But getting back to, like I said earlier, the fact that people are even considering, or a woman would even ponder trying to hook up with a married man, oftentimes just shows the desperation that women have. Or it could just
Now,
simply be they find the situation very safe and secure because they don't have to deal with the stuff.
and even though I don't want to touch this topic because if you are baiting on the Westernization ideology, then there'll be more conflict. But if you're baiting on the global aspect of things, that would also include the Eastern side of the world. There are cultures or faith that allow such person to have more than one wife, but it has to be through their custom and their culture to allow such
Right.
a thing. This is why I tell people, like, if you haven't not traveled outside the United States, if you have not been exposed to different culture and ideology and understanding, you need to do such things so you can grasp and get a level of understanding. Because America is not the only world that has its own set of ideology that is out here. There's so many other world that only challenge you, but put you in a position whereby you would have to sit down and ask yourself a question. What do you actually believe in? What is your foundation? How you built your life based on what principle are you following? When I ask that question because I have been outside the country, I've seen other culture outside the United States. You, Mr. Bennett, you have been exposed to different culture besides what you have already known and grew up with, and you see the dynamic behind it. It let you give you a multiple different angle how people perceive life for what it is. The only reason I don't like touching the topic because it's very complex, but also can be very confusing, depending on which ideology are you coming from. If you're coming from a deep cultural ideology that's not based in the United States, it's outside the Western culture, I can never argue or debate you because unless I have a full grasp of your culture, I don't have a say in it. And that's something I think a lot of people are being clueless about. We have content creators who are second wife or third wife,
Mhm.
and they're thinking
Yeah,
about it,
most of those
and they're
marriage
comfortable.
experts, the guy I met, I got Gray, who wrote Men from Mars and Women from Venus. He was actually married to this a woman, Barbara DeAngelis, who also was like a relational coach or something. They were both married to each other, but they were divorced multiple times. So I'm like, how
so
does how does this work?
David, I'll
But it
give you a
happens
great
often.
example. If you remember Hashim, who used to come on the show for a while,
Yeah,
first launched,
yeah,
he's married to a Christian.
yeah. Which is permitted.
They
I
make
mean,
it work.
it's yeah, it is permitted. So but and it's interesting because one of the bits that we played from the show as well was when that pastor, who I know, well, I've been in his church and I know the pastor well. He's retired now, but he talked about the fact that people who come from different faiths and they're pretty serious about it, they already go into the discussion when they go into like counseling or premarital counseling. They already know going into it that there's certainly some ground that needs to be covered if they want to try to make this thing work. And it really goes back to what Lady Navoa says in the chat. Compromise, communicate, and respect. They understand those things more so than people who even go to the same church. But they take for granted, oh, we go to the same church, but we're good. But they don't necessarily respect the fact that, hey, there are some things that we can discuss. We just think, oh, well, just because we see each other on Sundays, that's good enough. I mean, so I think the intention with which certain relationships are built.
And I can tell you from experience that people go to the same church don't really have the same ideology, because being a person who have served in different churches before in the past and being a part of these so-called focus group conversations, I have seen the discussion, I've seen the conversation that exposes people on their contradiction of what they believe. They say they understand and they have no understanding about it. There was a time whereby I was told I'm either too much because I have a deep level of understanding of the scripture, because since reading is one thing, but studying, and you're going to find people who are above your level, like 10 level above, and you're asking questions to get clarity of the scripture, and you go back and restudy again to get that deep, solid foundation built upon. And you meet someone who's not even near you, then you start to realize, okay, whoa, this may not even going to work, because too many people who are married from the same church, if you want to do it to the statistic, a lot of them end up in divorce. Because there's a different level of understanding. That's one part.
Bro, I hit the ball.
True. In some cases, the women don't want to be open-minded. They're closed. There are people in the church who are extremely closed-minded. They're not flexible. They're not looking to understand anything. They cause friction in their own marriage or in their own home. And that's not by chance. That's just not paying attention to the warning signs. So this is why sometimes I wonder if you would have a topic about marriage counseling. If it's done properly, I would say a lot of times it's not done properly.
Oh, it does.
Either the pastor himself is not skilled in that area, or don't have a lot of experience to work in that area. Because not every pastor you see out there, because kind of a title of pastor, have the well thought and the skill to navigate that arena. This is why there's a lot of Christian churches that not really pushing marriage as much like they used to. Because at the time they had a lot of marriage and they watched their marriage in the church falling apart. And that's it about their leadership. Well, they're doing wrong. Are they taking correction? And you have pastors who fall in the category where they're married men. And they messed around with other female members of the church. Sure. So this is not new. This is why I stay away from, because Perfect Show, preacher of LA, man was married, had the gall to say the Lord tell him that the wife that he's married to is not his wife, but he'd allow him to marry another woman. I know that's a bullshit lie. The pastor is literally lying on TV. There's no scripture in the Bible that supports such a thing.
Can you put Lady Navo's comment up? She made a comment earlier. Just want to.
She said, "I'm a Baptist and I sing." That's the only thing at Baptist Christian. So I can't see Mr. not thinking anymore like that, because my husband's religion is different. Or like I tell you, different of view can be a conflict depending on where you stand.
Yeah.
And you and I speak on a lot of things.
David, hang on a second. That could also, the different views could make you stronger at the same time.
It could.
Ever heard of saying, opposites attract?
Yeah, for sure.
We heard that plenty of
But
times.
even when she talks about the song, I find it interesting because I did a study on this some time back. Talk about Christian music. There's no such thing as Christian music. There's only Christian lyrics. But again, if you look at Christian, and I know she says she's a Baptist, so I know kind of the background that she comes from. All that stuff came from secular music. Started with the Negro spirituals, then it went to the those old hymns, then it got to the blues, and it got to the jazz and whatnot. It was the music evolved over time, but that's essentially black music applied to applied to Christian lyrics. And so the idea here is that certainly the songs that you sing or whatnot, whether you like the classic hymns or whatever, it's really it can change, but again, it's a style. Whether you sing it, deep Baptist gospel music or pipe organ hymns or the how they do in your church, Peter? What do they have? They have
Style and
cantors. What do they have?
actually, I can play a quick video.
So
Get a better idea.
yeah, so that
It could be opera like opera or something.
yeah. So there's all kinds of music out there, but at the same time, as a Christian in general, I'll say this.
Sorry, give me a second, guys. I got hit the wrong video.
But I'm just saying, but the songs that you sing, at the end of the day, do they have an impact on your faith? And what is ultimately your faith driving to? Yes, you want to worship God through praise, through song, through prayer, through reading the word and things of that nature. But I've seen churches split up over style. Like literally, it happened in my church quite a few years ago.
Guys ready?
Yeah.
Νέστη. Χριστός Ανέστη εκ νεκρών θανάτου.
Yeah, so it's like the cantors. Very again, no musical instruments or whatnot, very eclectic or whatnot, but it's a style.
Yeah.
And so my thing is it so much what you're singing or the beat or the rhythm that it's in, or are you worshiping God with whatever it is that you have? That there's no gospel music in the Bible. I don't know what they sung to or what they rock with back in the day. I have no idea.
Technically, they sing praises,
right? But we don't know the composition when David talks about those orchestral arrangements of David and the Psalms. I have no idea what that music sounds like.
And that is very,
you know what I'm saying?
true.
So, but again, but I've seen churches split. Like you had denominations that are formed over music. That the fact that they wanted to bring drums in, split the church because of drums, or because of an electric guitar, or because of some other form or what have you. So music isn't something that me personally I get so wrapped up in.
It's not just only that, Mr. B. It's not that they split. They split among classism or ages. Because there was a time when Kirk Franklin came into the industry.
Oh yeah, he was lambasted.
They split
for
on
it. Yeah.
kind of Christian music, and they put back on his type of Christian.
But I'm saying, but go back in the day when they tried to bring drums, a drum set. That was the devil's music. If you try to bring drums into the church, I mean,
and how many generations did say that?
I'm right. So I'm just saying. So to me, that's always been something that I guess for me, I've stripped off a lot of what I would say what is Christian culture. When I talk about being a Christian, I'm very narrow in my focus and what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my relationship with Jesus Christ and the person that I'm being transformed into. All other cultural or norms or whatever, I've stripped all that off. So I can rock with anybody. So I have no problem going to Pete's church and listening to that. It sounds very eclectic. I would take that. I can go to a Kirk Franklin concert. I can rock with that, but I'm not so locked in to say this is the music that Christians should be listening to, which is something that again been in church long enough to see those battles go on, and people get all bent out of shape about it. And I think that you have to allow. I mean, think about, and that's just in this country. But what about churches in China, or churches in Africa, or churches in Europe. Everybody has their own sort of musical mix and style, but ultimately, if it's they're being directed to God and the cultural norm that you do it, even different languages. So how are you going to judge, how a person sings or what songs are that are there? So again, I was not going to tie my faith to a musical style. And for a lot of people, again, when it comes to even to dating, people marry themselves to doctrines and things that at the end of the day, will this get you into heaven or not? And so for me, I stripped off a lot of that stuff, and I there's just a
I'm
lot of
glad you
arguments.
did.
There's just a lot of things that I just don't get into. But
And I'm
again,
glad you did
based on your
because
background, based on your culture, the way you grew up, yeah, there's certain songs, there's certain music that's going to rock with you. I mean, we're black American people. We're going to be attracted to R&B and rap and beats, African beats and whatnot, because that's the music of our people. That's where we came from. So we may rock with that more than other people. But I can still appreciate a culture, even if I don't understand the language. Like a lot of the songs that even when the Orthodox were singing, I may not understand what he's even saying, but I can still tell that it's melodic, and I can tell that it's sincere, and I can tell just from the spirit of what he's saying it. I can still appreciate
So
the
I have a
artistry that went into what he's doing.
I have a little pushback, very little.
Sure.
So when you visit other countries, most times one country is Catholic, and that's it. You don't see too many other religions in other countries like us here in the United
Mhm.
States. So when you're talking about Christian music, and I use that very vocal quote unquote.
Mhm.
In Greece, that's all you're gonna hear is psalone, opera music, whatever you want to call that.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you go to, let's say, London, they'll be doing a different version of what the Catholics know, or even the Roman Catholics or the Baptists. Let's say, name a country that's Baptist, whatever. Right?
Mhm.
That country is used to that style. That's
Mhm.
all they know. So now
Mhm.
you bring let's say you drop me in there, or Father Costantino, for example, whoop, right in the middle of Catholics, and he starts singing. They're gonna look at him like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?"
Mhm.
They're not used to that.
Yeah. But and like I said, and I can understand that. Like I said, just like I said earlier to Lady Navoa, yeah, that's what you were raised with. So again, it's a cultural style. It's a milieu that you're comfortable with. It's your comfort place, and that's fine. But the question is, should it be something that we divide over, though? So again, let's say if you did marry a man who didn't come from that background, he was good on everything else, but y'all just had different. It's just like, look, if I was into classical music and in operas and whatnot, and you were into rap and hip hop, you're gonna let that be the barrier where we can't get together?
Don't forget, I'm into metal.
I don't.
I'm not really into rap.
Yeah, or metal or what have you. Some people into the oldies. Some people into. So again, the music style is something that you think that you can't rock with somebody on because they listen to different music than you do.
No,
I
listen.
mean, I'm rhetorical. I'm just asking. I'm not saying
I know,
anyone specifically.
let's have that conversation for a second here. Like
Sure.
me and you, and David, you can jump in if you like. I would never judge somebody who likes rap, jazz. Personally, I hate jazz. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
lie to you. I prefer you putting rap on it and jazz.
Hmm.
I am not a fan of new rap because it's very downgrading. I personally believe versus the old school, the '90s and the early 2000s. I would like, okay,
Correct.
I can get back with this a little bit. Now you're gonna tell me, all right, I can't get back with Fight Fair Death Punch because that's way too heavy. Okay, what's the compromise? Metallica. Okay, I can compromise. Metallica is very soft. So versus Fight Fair Death Punch. He might look at me like, you think Metallica's soft? Are you serious? And like, we have a debate. I don't have to argue with you.
Hmm.
Excuse me. I don't need to have a fucking full-blown argument with you or with David or
She said,
Queen or whoever.
I know what you're trying to say. I don't know. That was a Florida. Was that a was that a Freudian slip, Lady Devoe?
No, no, I'm not. I'm not
No,
knocking
I'm just. She just got to be the comments real quick. But I know what I know what you're saying. But look, I mean, I'm just saying, that's why again, that's why we have these. You know, you want to listen to you want to listen to. So to me, even with my wife, I mean, her taste in music is can be a little bit different than mine. But again, it's just like anything else. There's hers, mine, and ours. Can we find some common ground of some music that we can listen to? So on the long road trip down I-95, is there is there a playlist that we can listen to and we can both rock with? But yeah, she be putting some stuff on when she goes out, when she walks the dog in the morning or whatever. She be putting on the corniest Carlton Banks music possible. Yeah. She's like, I was like, oh gosh, who did I marry here?
bro.
70s easy listening music. Engelbert Humperdinck and all these classic guys from the 70s and whatnot. Yeah, you never heard these guys, Pete. But I'm just saying, but that's her. So again, there's stuff that we're into. I mean, I'm into, like, I'll play the Star Wars soundtrack from the 1977 movie,
I was about to
the
say
complete Star Trek, for the entire road trip. And she's like, "Oh." So again, I put my Bluetooth, I put my headset on if I want to listen to that stuff. Or the Superman sound. I love music soundtracks from, like, the movies. Like, John Williams is arguably my favorite musician. Full stop. John Williams. If you look at his catalog of music, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Superman, Star Wars, Schindler's List, all these films that he's done over the years, iconic major artist. I can listen to John Williams all day.
He's not
But
creating music.
she don't rock with that, so I don't play it.
So a couple of things here. Call me weird, but I think you're gonna get a kick out of this one, Paul.
Mhm.
I listen to soundtracks, number one. Like, I think they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And B, I even might play in some old theme songs from cartoons I grew up on, like
100%. I have 3 volumes of TV's greatest hits. Back in the day, I would sing everything from Gilligan's Island to the Brady Bunch to whatever. Theme songs of cartoons. Absolutely. I have all that stuff. And my wife would be like, "No, we're not listening to that." But again, I get into when I'm on my way to work, I'm in the car, I'm listening to whatever. I'm in my element. She's in her element when she's doing her thing. When she's on her spin bike or whatever, she's in her element. But when we get together, yes, there's enough R&B, there's enough house music, there's enough stuff. Michael Jackson or whatever. Michael Jackson, anybody, we can all get with Michael Jackson. So again, Michael's on some R&B, some house music, some dance music. There's enough for us to get together on that we can listen to music together and dance together and do what we need to do.
Now, like, this is, I know this is gonna be weird again. Even in the shower, I have a little JBL speaker, like, in my shower, in my bathroom. I might plug in some little soundtracks, and, like, as I'm watching, I got the bigger version, by the way. I go big or go home.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But again, we've learned, like, not to be like, when I tried so hard to bring her into the Star Wars universe, and it just wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't. I mean, we went to see Empire Strikes Back, the special edition, back in 1997 when it came out, and she fell asleep like 10 minutes into the film.
Oh God!
And I knew right there. It's like, look, this is not going to be. She's not into Star Wars, Star Trek. She's into none of that. She likes some of the Avengers movies, not all of them. She can deal with Captain America. She can deal with the Avengers, but again, she's not into Thor or the Guardians of the Galaxy. She's not into that.
Let me ask this question, Paul. The day you walked in your house with a lightsaber in your hand, that box. What is?
She knew. I reached out to her when we were at Comic-Con. She knew I was going to buy it.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, when you reach out to her, she was like, "Fine," or like,
she was like, "Fine, yes, fine. You want a lightsaber? Fine, you get a lightsaber." I was like, "Okay, all right, I can get a lightsaber." So again, we're different, but we're the same. And we just, again, our roots are the same. Our principles are the same. We think alike financially. We think about spiritually. We think alike when it comes to how to raise our kids. We think alike in terms of values. So again, there's more than enough for us to cohabitate peacefully together, and we don't have to worry about. But again, I let her be her, and I think that's one thing. If I can
One
give
thing
any
very
advice to
untouchable.
anybody who's been married for a long time.
So this guy's if I'm just gonna throw it out there. Anybody wants to check this guy out? He was a priest that sung that song. He has a whole YouTube channel.
Hmm.
So I also put in a back check for you guys too. If you,
Yeah,
I know you're going to definitely look into that, Paul. Because anybody's going to
yeah.
look into it, I'm just, he has an incredible voice. I got right.
No, I can tell from like I said, I don't listen to opera, but I recognize what it is. I mean, I recognize the talent, especially when opera singers sing American songs. There was a guy, if you watched the Yankees, there was this guy, this opera singer who would sing the national anthem before the Yankee games, especially in the World Series, especially in the '90s when you had Derek Jeter and those guys. Beautiful tenor voice. I mean, yeah, the guy's got bars. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this is a talented person who spent years developing his craft, and you can see the artistry and talent in what he's doing. Now, again, am I going to go buy an opera album per se? Not necessarily. Again, it's not, or would I even want to go to an opera? I would go just to say I had the experience of seeing an opera. I would probably have no idea what's going on there, but I would at least go there to see it once.
I
But
would,
again, I just think that things like
because I wouldn't go because I'm not a big opera fan. Like I'm less than you probably. Like I like maybe one or two songs. For example, do you remember Excalibur, the movie?
yes.
Remember the song they were singing in there? And like maybe that's maybe one more. To me, it'd be more a waste of money than going to an opera. Now I'm more into the rock stuff. I've been to a Five Finger Death Punch concert.
Mm,
Loved it,
mm,
bro. I've been to a local band concert. Again, loved it.
mm.
But I'm not a big fan of going to I'm not a big fan of opera. You put me in opera, I'm like, oh great, this is gonna be torture.
Well, like I
I
said,
can
it's an
respect it.
experience. I mean, at least the classic. Like if you went to like an opera where you have to wear like a tuxedo, like very kind of posh, very kind of, I
Well,
mean that. I
well,
said I would do it for the experience of it. It's like that scene
Mr.
out of
President,
Godfather 3 where they go to the opera house at the thing.
Mr. President,
Very
did
yes,
you ever see me in a tuxedo? Seriously.
yes, and you will wear a tuxedo. You're gonna be suited and booted when you get married. So yes, I
That's the
definitely.
difference. So, when I get married, yes. But do you see me going to
So you just
tuxedo?
so
I
there's
like
already an exception. You just conceded. You already conceded an exception already.
yeah, suits. I don't mind. I love wearing a
You would
suit.
look fly in suits, Peter. Especially again, look at all these pictures of these bearded men in suits, stylish. I mean, dressed to the nines. All these beard content creators. When those guys get tight, I mean, when they get suited and booted, I mean, yes, you would look very handsome. Decked out shoes, the entire nine. You will look very handsome in a suit. I think that would certainly be a pleasant look. At certainly a woman who is looking for a guy, not a married guy, but certainly a good looking guy. Nothing's. I'm like to this day, there's still nothing better than a man in a well fitted, tailored suit. There's nothing to beat.
Aurora, you're
No,
not helping.
nothing beats that. Nothing.
No, I love
And
wearing
I
a suit.
mean,
I do.
and again, I am a stickler for this suit and the shoes. You got to have shoes on. I'm not buying this wearing Nike Air Force Ones with a suit. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
time out,
can't.
time out. Let's
I'm or Jordans or
bring
whatever.
it back a
No,
second.
I'm not. I'm
Let's
not
bring it
into
back.
that. You gotta wear the shoes, the nice Italian shoes that go with the suit. I mean that's just like that just kind of finishes the look.
Okay, let's bring it back for 1 second.
Sure.
So with the suit conversation, yes, would I wear a suit? Absolutely. I have no problem wearing a suit. I actually enjoy wearing a suit. I have the shoes for it. I have the pants for it. I'm not a big tie person, but it depends on the occasion. If I have to wear a tie, I will wear a tie.
Mhm.
I don't get a chance to dress up too much because of my line of work.
Sure.
I'm always dirty by the time I get home.
Sure.
To be straight up with you. Give me a second to wear a suit. Maybe go have a cigar in it too. I wouldn't mind it. I'm like I even used to own those old mafia hats. I used to get rock those old mafia hats,
Yeah.
and I love
Yeah,
those
yeah.
fucking hats.
You get your beard edged up. I mean, really sharp looking. I mean, really go to the old school barber, and he gets
That's
you
what he does.
really tailored up.
Usually.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you get all of that tightened up, and you go out, go out on a night in town or whatever. I'm telling you,
The only
you would
thing, I'll be
be.
honest with you, my only part of that process I don't like is putting gel in my hair. But for that night, I will wear gel.
There you go.
And once in a while,
Now,
I know you don't have the problem, Paul.
let me just say this. I have a issue when it comes to the shoe part of thing because I want to find shoe my size that's very comfortable,
Oh, I can tell you companies, a lot of them, they're expensive.
and that's one of that's one of my big issue. Now, when it comes to suit, I'm not into this new fashion whereby it gotta be so fitted. I want to feel comfortable in the suit I
Mhm.
wear. So I have done this before in the past when I was much lighter than I am right now. Now, if I were to get into the suit right now, either I just lose maybe 50 pounds or so, but I don't want no fitting pant that is grabbing my thighs. I don't need that feeling because I'm serious. I'm dead ass serious. I never feel comfortable wearing pants that's so fitted because to me it think of the BGs. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I'm not a fan of that. I got
Dumb
muscular
question, David.
thighs.
Don't you have to wear dress pants when your line of work?
Yo, I wear dress pants by way straight fit, comfortable. I don't wear fitted, but it's like a thing right now. People are wearing too many fitted pants whereby you're seeing every information. With I don't need to advertise.
Probably that small.
I want to breathe. No, I want to breathe. No, it's not
No,
a matter of being
I
small.
agree with that breathing part because like only pants that fit me very comfortably, it's Kevin Klein jeans. To be honest with you, because it's too much junk down in the trunk. You know what I'm saying?
Hang on, you guys. I just dropped in the plug. Can you play some of this video? You don't even have to play this audio from it.
Let me see what it is first. Hang on 1 minute. Oh, okay. I can play that. Like I can't play audio, but I can.
Yeah, you don't have to play the audio. I just want to see. I just want
thing
people to see the video. This is what is meant by a well-tailored suit. Look at the individuals in the shots. That's what a suit should wear like. That's how a suit should fit. And this is from the '60s, guys. Look at that. Muhammad Ali, Wilt Chamberlain. Perfectly tailored. Look at the pants. Look at the shoes.
It's,
Look at how the suit
it's
fits.
not fitted, but it's comfortable. Yeah, I like that. It's not too tight fitted, but it's comfortable.
I'm saying, but that's how
But lately, all of a
a
sudden,
suit should fit on a man. It should, like, remember in the '90s, everyone was wearing them baggy suits. You know, like
I hate
from,
that fucking look. I fucking
yeah.
hate that look.
Yeah, and then like I said, now the suits gotten ridiculous where everything's like you're wearing leggings and not pants now. I'm saying that right there, that's classically
that's my
tailored
problem.
suits. Obviously, these guys are big guys. Ali's 6'3", Wilt Chamberlain 7'1". So again, they had to be tailored suits. But again, no fabric hanging off. You could still move freely in it. Dali, he does the Ali shuffle when he's in his suit and everything. But that's how a suit should look.
Let me ask you a question, Paul. How do you feel about ties?
Yeah, I think you should wear, especially if you're wearing a dark suit, have a flare tie, flare red tie, or a tie that's got some some color in it. That's kind of like the pop, and then you have like a matching handkerchief to go with it. Absolutely, yeah. I have
I have a tie collection. I don't know why. Since I was young, I started collecting tie because I like a certain look. I don't like anything that's too flashy, but a tie that give you that type of this is a manly tie. That's my thing. I could show it. I could get it right now and show you guys.
Yeah, go ahead. But it's again, it's
Yeah,
a. But again, I think the tie, especially when you're wearing a suit that doesn't have a lot of extra. So again, unless you're wearing one of these bright colored suits, or whatnot, then again, you go opposite. So again, a bright colored suit, you wear a neutral tie. If you're wearing a neutral colored suit, then you wear a tie that really sort of brings out the accent and flair. And then again, you match it up with the cufflinks, and you have the.
my personal collection of ties, very unique for a reason. Let me put on my light so you can see it better. I'm kind of picky when I buy ties. It had to say, okay, this is me. I have different colors for different looks or different color of suit I may get. But over time, I'm very picky about the quality
Yeah.
of it and the texture of it. That is my thing. This is why I pride my collection like something very personal to me. When I'm buying a tie, I'm taking my time trying to see if this tie fit me or not.
So
So this is my own personal
let me ask
collection.
another question, both of you guys. Okay, we talked about ties, about bow ties.
I don't do bow ties often, except with a tuxedo, or unless it's like an event. Yeah, if I'm wearing like like this wedding that we're going to, my daughters and we're invited to the wedding, and they're requesting that men dress in tuxedos. So I already have a tuxedo. I just need to get a new shirt because my neck grew, so I can't. I have to get a new tuxedo shirt. But I do have the bow tie. I have this African kente tie and cummerbund that I'll wear with it. Yeah. So again, with a tuxedo, yes, I typically don't wear bow ties outside of that. But yes, definitely with a tuxedo, absolutely.
So with me, here's another question for you guys. Okay, the color suits. I usually went for the classic black and white. That's what I usually known. The one color I always wanted to get, and everybody told me don't get it because I look like a pimp in it, and it pisses me off. I'm thinking about getting it now. Was the conversation is a blue suit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, standard color for men: black, charcoal gray, and navy. Now, if you want one of those to be like, if you want the navy, it could be like a pinstripe or pattern. Yes, you can certainly. Those three suits, you can never go wrong. They never age out. They're timeless. Now, the only other, if I want to add a little flair to a suit, if I wanted something, especially in the summer, I would consider either like a cream colored suit for like, again, a summer, like a summer wedding, an outdoor venue, something like that. I may consider for the summer. But outside of that, if you rock those three colors, I would say if I was going to add a fourth, maybe like a neutral, like a tan colored suit or something like that. But really, you don't need to have 20 different suits. You give those three suit colors and you switch up the tie. Then that's what gives you the variety of the in the suits. You know what I mean? So yeah, four, but I said it's three primary colors.
What about
Blue,
purple color?
No. Not if not. I'm saying you can do that if you want to be stylish. I would rather wear one of the suits. I talk about either the black suit or the charcoal gray, but I would have a nice flare purple tie and collar handkerchief to kind of go with it. Like I said, the tie is where I like to do my bling. And so I don't like ties with muted colors. I like my tie to really stand out, stick out. That I think gives the look of richness, of wealth. Especially you combine that with cufflinks. If you're wearing a cufflink shirt, then that's what kind of gives you that kind of look. But no, purple suits, green suits. Again, that was all in the 80s and 90s. People say it used to look like Gumby because people were rocking these green colored suits. They say you got this Gumby suit on, and those big shoulder pads that they used to have on the shirts then, that kind of New Jack Swing kind of look back in the 90s or whatnot. Again, that gets old after a while. But a classically well-fitted suit that we can still, and especially now because they got these fabrics now, suits are better than back in the day because, again, the stretch fabric, the four-way stretch that they're building into the suits now. So, again, the fabrics are even better. So, again, a fitted suit that you can kind of grow with, three primary colors, add a neutral, like either a tan or mauve a colored suit. If you want a fourth, if you want something for the summer, like I said, you're not going to wear it very often, but like a cream colored suit in the summer outing or whatever, then absolutely, you can certainly rock one of those. But again, the ties, and then again your shoes, and then your belt combo. Make sure your belt matches your shoes. And for goodness sakes,
I have to
no
do a
white
redo on
socks.
my.
No white socks. I can't tell you how many guys, especially in the IT community, and David, you know this, how many guys come to work wearing suits, but they're suits for an interview. They're coming for an interview. They got a black suit on, and they're wearing white sweat socks to go with the shoes. I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like,
Here's the problem.
where'd you get that?
They used to be a store. There used to be a the Bennett, Mr. Bennett. There used to be a store out here that used to be very popular before the pandemic called the K and G store.
Oh yeah,
And I used to go
absolutely.
there get my Jeffrey Bean shirt from there.
Yep.
And keyword, I will say it again, keyword, dress socks, not white socks, dress socks. Dress socks are never white. They're
Yes.
mostly dark colors,
Yes.
but they got different variation and based on texture of it. Now, my thing is when it comes to dress shirt, not all shirt fit me because every brand have a different type of measurement. And for some apparent
Mhm.
reason, Jeffrey Bean shirt it be number one in my life. But now that the pandemic had knocked a lot of these business out of commission, it's hard for me to find a men's store that actually sell a long line of Jeffrey Bean shirt.
Mhm.
I'm a broad, big, old school man. I don't have a feminine look. I have the body whereby if you're not careful, if I get activated, my body expands. I think I'd have a Dragon Ball Z body. But when it comes to buying dress shirt, if it's not Jeffrey Beans, there's no other shirt that fit me. So it's kind of like it's harder for me in because all these other fancy stores, they had all these fancy name brand. It doesn't fit my taste because of the
Mhm.
material of the shirt. Certain material irritate me in my skin, some material don't. Jeffrey Bean shirt felt like peace when wearing it. So if I want to be hardcore, I don't mind a Jeffrey Bean tie. My pant selection, I always had to be based on the material. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, but it's comfortable, relaxed fit. I don't need no tight fitting. You don't need to see my butt cheek. I'm not trying to be no male model. I'm trying to be comfortable in where I look. And I understand when people that hate the baggy look. I don't like the baggy look either, but I like to look whereby I could wear the
Well, like I said,
pants
it was
on
a
my
style. It
waist.
was a
I don't
style. I
need to
mean, the
sag.
'90s. It was definitely a style back in the. But
That
again,
was the
styles.
that was like a Steve, that was a Steve Harvey look. Steve Harvey would put you
Yeah.
that type of baggy like,
Yeah. Well, he didn't create it. I guess
but I
I
don't
think he tried to capitalize on it.
yeah, he did. But the thing is, when it comes to suit is always a big deal on an African cultural thing because they follow after the European standard. 'Cause remember, my country to be a colony of the British Empire, so they take the suit very, very serious. But now there is a huge, huge business in my country when it comes to suit because they're buying fabric to make all kind of suits from Europe. I mean, I'm following a lady on Snapchat, and she had, you won't believe it, I tell you, 30 different material that can be used to make good quality suit. And I'm thinking like, do I have to fly back to my country and hook up with this lady so I can find me a tailor to just measure me to when I come back and pick up my suit sort of thing because the material that's looking at from the screen, I'm like, they look better than what I see out here. We'll talk. And
Mhm.
these are European material. That's just my look. It's always being comfortable, not too fitted, but I want to be a keep a low key profile. That's just me.
Mhm.
I love tie, but I
Yeah.
hate bow tie. Last time I ever wore a bow tie, I was 4 or 5 years old. Ever since then, I never wore a bow tie again.
Yeah.
I don't see. It's like saying you're acting a big
All right,
beefy
let's get into
person.
our final.
My final. Let me do it. My final. My final thought.
Let's get into our final thoughts. Yep.
Let me go. My final thought: women going out to marry men. This has been a long, long history topic, but there are so many factors, so many reasons, so many dynamics. But I will say this: You know, when a woman will go out there, marry man, if she sees something that she wanted so bad, and she could never get for many years, she find it with somebody else. Either she believes that she's supposed to have and not you, or she feel as if I'm jealous or you cannot have it. Now, in some cultural aspect, they may allow it, especially in my culture. There are married men that have more than one wife in my country right now. Not only in my country, other African country where Middle Eastern. So don't be looking at me like you're stuck in a westernization ideology is what it is. You're not in that area, so don't do that. But would I promote it? No. Everybody's different. Everybody have their reason why they do something. But I will say this is the top. I think every other black YouTuber should just venture and ask themselves, are you a byproduct of this day or you have seen something like this? And what had it done to your life? They make you feel some kind of way or not, or make you feel weird about relationship altogether because this have been going on through ancient time. It's not gonna change. You can't get rid of it. Even the people in the Bible time was dealing with this thing. What make you think you go get rid of this right now? On that note, be careful how you make your choices. That is my final thought.
Well, again, so I didn't. I don't know if I added a lot to this discussion or not. I have talked to some guys recently who got married, and they've certainly noticed the additional attention that they get, the fact that they are married. And again, I can, on certain level, I can understand it. I think your respect level, I think as a man goes up when you're married, whether or not a woman will admit it or not. Certainly, the idea that you have been chosen, and certainly if the woman you're married to if she edifies you, to her friends, to her family, to her co-workers or what have you, then when you show up, there's a respect that is imparted to you when you conduct yourself with character. And so certainly I can understand the attraction that may take place with the married man. And let's face it, I mean, for a lot of married guys, our profile gets raised based on who we're married to. If you're married to a beautiful woman, then you automatically get elevated because of that woman that you're married to. If she's classy, and if people think that you married up, then they obviously, people are going to think that, hey, he must be smarter, or he must be a better judge of character, whatever, or whatever he did to get her, then he must be that dude. And so again, I can understand the natural attraction that they may have for a woman to certainly seek a man who she sees as having the qualities that she would want in a husband. I got no problem with that. I have no problem with a woman paying me compliments to that, or even if I've heard women say, "Oh man, if I had a man like you or a husband like you," I've heard people say that as well. Again, I take it as a compliment, but that's as far as it goes. Like I said, for me, I don't entertain uh, uh, relationships with women that where my wife is not involved. So again, one-on-ones with women, being in a car with women, unless it's necessary, will I even get on an elevator with a woman? So again, I just don't open up those Pandora's boxes that can lead to something that just doesn't need to be. And so so I'm very intentional about, how I move as a married man. And so for a woman to try to hit on me because I am a married man, she would certainly know, as often as I can tell her, that I'm a married man and that I have no interest in her because I'm a married man. And so, and if it got to a point where it became like harassment, then I would have to take appropriate action. But, I have no need or reason to succumb to those temptations. And so, my thing is, for any married couple, make your marital bed what it needs to be for the relationship to function. And so, like I said, shout out to Boss Man and his wife. They seem to be doing a great job of doing that. They keep it fun, they keep it interesting. So those temptations, I would, again, it's not to say that temptations won't come your way, but you're going to be in a much better position to handle stuff when you're making sure that you're taking care of things at home. Cultivate your own lawn, your own garden, and give it what it needs so you don't have to look outside at somebody else. Are there more attractive women out there? Sure. But looking at everything that I got, I'm not trading my wife for anybody. I don't care how young or old these guys. We all know what's happening out in the sports world with Shannon Sharp. And the thing is, you got a 56-year-old dude messing with a 19-year-old OnlyFans model. And yes, I'm going to hear guys talk about, oh, well, men have been doing this for thousands of years. Okay. But the Bible says that, women will bring down kings also. So you got to take the bitter with the sweet when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I don't get the attraction. Why, why get involved with a married man as if that's going to make your life more complicated. So I would definitely say that, you definitely have to, you definitely have to watch how you move as a married man. And again, since I can't speak for women, I can certainly speak for married men. Make sure you keep those temptations at bay. That woman at work who wants to go to lunch with you all the time, be very careful that you don't get yourself into situations where you develop emotional attachments and you start sharing more than what you were sharing, that you need to be sharing. And you find yourself in a situation where things could even get to a romantic, if not sexual level. But again, take care of your home. And that'll help to, alleviate some of those particular situations. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the topic. Good topic. Certainly next time, if this topic comes up again, certainly getting some women involved to share their perspective.
I actually did invite
on that, and I'm sure you did try to do that ahead of the show, but we can continue to work on that. That's something that's a project to build on, to say we get some women to talk about honestly. Especially if we get someone who's actually done that.
My project for the year is to get at least between 1 to 5 women who will come on the date. Shut up, David. 3. I say 5 because you don't know who's going to show up.
Minimum 3. Don't just say 1.
David, do I have to hit the button? Do I need to hit the button?
You've reached your limit in talking. Shut the fuck up.
So I say 1 to 5 because you don't know how hard this is going to work. But they come on and give their opinions on every Thursday show.
Shout out to Lady Nero. Yes, she did come up tonight.
Yeah. She needs a camera up too. But anyway, let's go to the schedule and let's get the hell out of here. So this week, Saturday, we're talking about old school cartoons. I'm talking about Johnny Quest, the real version. I actually like Johnny Quest, but I don't have a show for anime because somebody did not send me his homework. Don't look the other way, David.
For the anime part, for the anime part, we had it until Friday. Like I said, it seemed Wally kind of busy because we're trying to find time we can sit down and discuss these things. Because I remember I emailed him the list and I told him, if you have any other extra idea, please add on to it, because I don't want to let it be a one-sided thing when only I throw all the idea and my co-host cannot throw his own. I want to make sure we are all in agreement.
Try tomorrow. I'm gonna take both of you and bang your heads, getting like ding like bells.
You don't want to do that because we might hijack a lot of shows.
Yeah, I'm not scared.
You know how we are already on our own show alone.
Anyway, back to this. Next Thursday. This is a topic that I think you may like, Paul. Become the best version of yourself. We're gonna have a little conversation on that one.
All right.
So, David, anything else on your side or down there below?
I was trying to see if I can get my partner to jump on one particular topic called Dragon Ball Daima, but he hasn't watched it yet. So I can't bum rush him because I have so much.
It's fine. Just at least give me one show. But Paul, anything on you before we go?
I'm good.
All right.
Oh, just gray area this Sunday. That's got a call-in show Q&A. So any guys want to jump on, Dave? If you want to jump on, so you're more than welcome.
Yeah, and you know what?
problem.
Somebody jump on. Maybe in between topics of people coming on, we could talk about dress code. So we'll talk about that later. So
All right.
Dress code on job or dress code in podcasts?
In general, David, you overthink things sometimes. So, guys,
Okay.
this was the Sparta HQ Network. I am Ghost of Sparta. He is Mr. President. This little shithead down there is Paul. I mean, David. I'm sorry, I didn't mean pen you, Paul. As always, stay fresh, stay
Dear
safe.
Paul.
You guys, and the next one.